All right, so Lakia, I had to erase some things off of the memory. So,
So we left off with other conditions being equal. If one force is hurled against another 10 times its size, the result would be the flight of the former, and that also goes in, to Yahweh Shingao Shai lifting up the standard, you know, giving us that spiritual power to whether to either defend ourselves or to escape from the enemy's grasp. So, next is going to be when the common soldiers are too strong and their officers too weak, the result is insubordination. When the officers are too strong and the common soldiers too weak, the result is a collapse. That would be the book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 25.
This is Mark 3 and 25. And it reads, "And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand."
So, if you're fighting amongst each other, how are you able to, if you can't function like a team or a family unit, you're everything's just gonna fall apart. Everybody's gonna be against one another. As you're basically vulnerable and wide open for the opposing force to come in and just overtake you. So you have to make sure that those in charge have, that they're in charge, that they have that authority. You can't have their subordinates usurping authority, trying to dominate them, because if you hold a position of power, that means that you are the one that has to take charge. And if you hold a position of, taking orders, that's your place. And you are to take orders and to follow them. Next is when the higher officers are angry and insubordinate, and on meeting the enemy give battle on their own account from a feeling of resentment before the commander-in-chief can tell whether or not he is in a position to fight, the result is ruin. Proverbs 27:3.
Can I bring this out real quick?
Go ahead.
Driving the point that you was just making.
Go ahead.
It's gonna be this is gonna be Galatians. I think I gotta start up a little bit. No, it was just Galatians 5:9. A little leaveneth the whole lump. So if your body not strong in its entirety, that's gonna leave room. It's gonna make the whole body weak.
God.
And he said Proverbs.
Yes, Proverbs 27:3.
Proverbs 27:3 says, "A stone is heavy and the sand weighty, but a fool's wrath is heavier than both."
So, a fool's wrath is heavier than both, meaning that in that moment of anger, rage, and resentment, you could cause. It can cause serious problems, detrimental to not just yourself but to your whole unit. So that's why you have to be slow to anger, and you have to be tempered. You have to be in control of yourself. You have to, as they say, don't let your emotions cloud your better judgment, logical judgment. So,
right, a wise man is slow to anger.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Sirach 2:2 it says, "Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble."
Mm-hmm.
Don't
you get
running like a chicken with your head cut off.
James 1:19 to drive the point home.
You got it?
He's got it.
Oh, you got it?
No, I don't got it.
Okay. So James 1:19.
Gone.
It's lucky I got my glasses, so there we go. James. All right, book of James, chapter 1. in verse 19, and it reads, "Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath."
So that right there tells you to not let your emotion cloud your better logical judgment. When the general is weak and without authority, when his orders are not clear and distinct, when there are no fixed duties assigned to officers and men, and the ranks are formed in a slovenly, haphazard manner, the result is utter disorganization. James 1 and 8.
James chapter 1 verse 8 says a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
And as being double-minded and unstable in all your ways, that's talking about how you are indecisive and you can't make up your mind because you don't have a single solid belief or foundation to build upon and give those, and be direct and give, that one foundation that you're supposed to build upon. You're supposed to also relay that unto those that follow you. You can't contradict yourself. You have to stick with what you believe in, and relay it to those that follow you. Because if you go this way and you go the other way, as as my father always says, don't be a Benedict Arnold. Don't be contradicting. You go one way, then you go the other. Don't be two-faced, basically. So just stick with one thing and build upon it.
That's why man, it's truth. It's supposed to surround yourself with like-minded people.
Mm-hmm.
Not be listening to two different doctrines, because that's going to leave room for doubt and confusion.
Stand fast on what you have known, mm-hmm. what you have been taught.
Right.
So understanding, through understanding first and foremost, you're not following men. All right. You're not following the men that are out on the highways and byways. Let's get that clear. You're not supposed to follow those men. You are following the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai that is on those men. All right? Even Apostle Tahar, we give double honors to, because he is doing the work of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and he is here to lead through the spirit. Right. All right? It's not the man that we follow. All right? Yahweh Bashem Yahushai made him the man that he is, that he through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, he has woken many brothers up, and brothers have woken up other brothers, so on and so forth, as it is written. All right? So we follow the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So, Lucky, I wanted to point that out. Just not, we don't men worship, because that's what a lot of people will say. Oh, you're following a man. Yeah, we're following the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai that is on that man, who put that man and made that man the leader of Israel today.
And we know the leaders through the spirit.
Come. All right, go ahead.
When a general, unable to estimate the enemy's strength, allows an inferior force to engage a larger one, or hurls a weak detachment against a powerful one, and neglects to place picked soldiers in the front rank, the result must be rout. And when you look into the word rout, that's a disorderly defeat. And you can get Job 5 and 19.
This is Job chapter 5, verse 19. It says, he shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee. In famine he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. Thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue, neither shalt thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh.
So, in that time of disorderly defeat and panic, when everything's just falling apart, going to shit, ultimately we are to have our faith in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua that He's going to deliver us from that trouble, that He's going to get us out of there. That's why we got to have faith and believe, because we're pretty much in that time where things are slowly but surely amping up day by day, and it's only going to get worse. So that's going to help us build up our faith, and that the Lord is going to help deliver us from these troubles and keep us out of harm's way. Next, it says, these are 6 ways of courting defeat, which must be carefully noted by the general who has attained a responsible post. The natural formation of the country is the soldier's best ally, but a power of estimating the adversary, of controlling the forces of victory, and of shrewdly calculating difficulties, dangers, and distances constitutes the test of a great general. He who knows these things in fighting puts his knowledge into practice will win his battles. He who knows them not nor practices them will surely be defeated. Philippians 2 and 3.
It's the book of Philippians. This is the book of Philippians, chapter 2, and verse 3. Let nothing be done through strife or vain glory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem others better than themselves.
So again, when it says, he who knows these things in fighting puts his knowledge into practice will win his battles. He who knows them not nor practices them will surely be defeated. So it's all about the training. When you, like it says, let each esteem other better than themselves. So in that training, when you're training with your unit, you're training with others. You can learn from one another. This person could teach you something. You could teach this person something. You could teach that person something. So in that training, you're helping each other get better. And that's part of putting your practice into play, because that way, whatever it is that you learn in training, you're going to put it forth on the actual battlefield.
Cool. Iron sharpeneth iron.
Mm-hmm. And next we got, if fighting is sure to result in victory, then you must fight, even though the ruler forbid it. If fighting will not result in victory, then you must not fight, even at the ruler's bidding. The general who advances without coveting fame and retreats without fearing disgrace, whose only thought is to protect his country and do good service for his sovereign, is the jewel of the kingdom. Regard your soldiers as your children, and they will follow you into the deepest valleys. Look upon them as your own beloved sons, and they will stand by you even unto death. That would be the book of Ephesians 6 and 11.
So Ephesians 6 and 11. It says, put on the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil.
So, as the children of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, He regards us. We are to follow and stand by Him until death. And that goes into being faithful until death, and He shall reward you a crown of life. So, when you're in this truth, as you stand by Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, you are to maintain your integrity. Be true and sincere unto Yahweh Hashem Yahushai at all times. You can't let your faith in Him waver. You can't turn your back on Him. As a beloved son, you love your father, and you follow your father's orders. And you keep that loyalty and faith unto Him until death. If, however, you are indulgent but unable to make your authority felt, kind-hearted but unable to enforce your commands, and incapable moreover of quelling disorder, then your soldiers must be likened to spoiled children. They are useless for any practical purpose. If we know that our own men are in a condition to attack, but are unaware that the enemy is not open to attack, we have gone only halfway towards victory. If we know that the enemy is open to attack, but are unaware that our own men are not in a position, or not in a condition to attack, we have gone only halfway towards victory. If we know that the enemy is open to attack, and we also know that our men are in a condition to attack, but are unaware that the nature of the ground makes fighting impracticable, we have still gone only halfway towards victory. Hence, the experienced soldier, once in motion, is never bewildered. Once he has broken camp, he is never at a loss. The book of Jeremiah 4:22.
I'll grab it.
And can you get Isaiah 1 and 2?
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter, you said 4?
Chapter 4, verse 22.
Chapter 4 and verse 22. And it reads, "For my people is foolish, they have no knowledge, they have not known me, they are they are sottish children, and they have none understanding. They are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge."
And the word sottish means stupid. We'll do stupid things, but that only leads us to, that only makes things more difficult for us instead of doing what is wise, which in order to make our situation a little easier. So Isaiah 1 and 2.
Go. Isaiah 1 verse 2. Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth. For the Lord has spoken, I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me.
Can you read down? I think there's more.
Go. The ox knoweth his master, and the ass his master's crib, but Israel do not know, my people doeth not consider.
So, as it says right back up here, if, however, you are indulgent but unable to make your authority felt, kind-hearted but unable to enforce your commands, and incapable, moreover, of quelling disorder, then your soldiers must be likened to spoiled children. They are useless for any practical purpose. So, as a spoiled child, you're useless. You don't have any discipline. I have no use for you.
Right. What do you do to that spoiled child, man? You gotta correct him.
We gotta correct them. We gotta take those gifts away. If you've already given that child everything, which Yahweh Shem Yahushai had already given us everything. Through the Spirit, we were perfect.
Right.
In the garden, we were perfect.
Right.
So we were spoiled.
And what happens when that don't work?
Through the Spirit, that's what we're going through now.
Right, that's where we at. That's where we at with it. That's why the 2/3,
That's going to be the end of the 2/3. They got to go because they're still in that same spirit of being spoiled. They think they're in a good case. They think that they're living their best life. They're living their best life. That everything and nothing's gonna happen, and they forever gonna be balling and so on and so forth, and money is right and everything because they're sellouts. Whether they literally sold their soul, all right, or whether they just believe that their job and everything, they're so high and mighty, all right, and believe themselves to be in a good case.
This is Proverbs 2 and 22. But the wicked shall be cut off from the earth, and the transgressors shall be rooted out of it.
Come on.
It's going to happen to Esau, Edom after 1,000 years and then of slavery. And it's going to happen to, the 2/3 after that wicked root is going to be done away with.
Come on. After they know death by pain, by thermonuclear fire.
Y'all going to be that sacrifice. So the elect can make it out of here.
God, hey, and that's not excluding the ones that die from famine and die by the beast, die by the sword. Like all that is judgment. Those are judgments come down from Yahweh Bashem Yahushai to continue to make sure that you, all right, receive the judgment that was fit for your destruction. All right? And for the ones that have to burn in thermal nuclear fire, you were just absolutely wicked. All right? If you have to see and feel that second death of that thermal nuclear fire, you were absolutely wicked. You know? That means Yahweh Bashem Yahushai kept you and made it through everything.
You seen the video in the chat with Jake that was there's this Jake on TikTok doing what would happen if this city got nuked.
Chicago.
He was doing Chicago and just going off the radio. The farther you get out is like the worse your judgment from the. Because when you right where that in the vicinity of where that
it's
missile
instantaneous.
is instant,
Right.
but then the farther out is the longer you gotta wait for that dying sensation.
God.
Then if you really far out, you gonna feel the that temp is gonna get you, but you gonna if you're just like far out of the perimeters, you got all that radiation and stuff that's gonna kill you.
Right, because it's the wind that's going to blow. That means you're going to suffer days with getting sick and, hair loss. And, I mean, there's minimum hair loss and everything like that. But,
Yeah, but
like just
prolonged.
Yeah, prolonged. Just breaking down your cells in the whole 9 yards.
Deterioration.
The water. That's the word I was looking for. Slowly deteriorating.
Slowly but surely rotting away. Ooh. Alright, next it says, hence the saying, if you know the enemy and know yourself, your victory will not stand in doubt. If you know heaven and know earth, you may make your victory complete. And the last one is going to be Philippians 3:14.
This is Philippians chapter 3, verse 14. It says, I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of God Yahweh and Mashiach Yahushai.
And that mark for the prize of the high calling of the power, that prize is salvation. Being delivered out of here. That's the eyes of the prize right now. Is getting out of here.
Time to see salvation. All right, to make it on the chariots, what the world ignorantly calls UAPs or UFOs. All right. And that's for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, only 1/3 of the nation of Israel. All right, that goes through the father's seed. All right, you have to be born of the lineage. This is a bloodline covenant. All right, so if your blood doesn't have the code, all right, if you don't have the genetic makeup code for the nation of Israel, you will not see salvation. It doesn't belong to you.
So with that, hope this lesson was edifying. Once again, this was Art of War, series chapter 10, and it's about the terrain. So we like to give all glory, honor, and praise unto
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakodash.
Double honors and respect to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing of the fellow Akim out there preaching and teaching with truth and sincerity, and to the women and children that are listening and learning, and to the elect house of David that's scattered abroad. We give you our utmost and sincere salutations. Once again, this is Men of Valor Las Vegas Camp. See you on the next lesson, Lord willing. Kwam Yasharallah wa Abba.